Now, if you were to think of a caricature, like the stereotypical Hollywood producer, I don't think you can find a better one than Eric Kripke. Like, literally the exact way you think people from Hollywood that are in ivory towers away from the economic problems of the world behave, and how much disdain they must have for the average conservative, you'd probably not be far off if you think of Eric Kripke. I mean, the Trump derangement syndrome within this gentleman is colossal. He doesn't like white people. He thinks they're dangerous. And we're going to look a little bit at some of his takes, take into account that his description of what he thinks are right-wingers is actually a very accurate description of what Hollywood elites think of the average American who votes right-wing. So when I initially saw The Boys, and I said, yeah, I think like the showrunners are trying to say that right-wingers are violent, immediately I was like, no, V, you're too political. You're looking into it. The fucking showrunner is literally saying that. How do I know? How do I know these things? I am so sick and tired of people not believing me. Holy shit. Like, when I'm making an analysis, I am spot on. Every single time, I'm spot on. I am in these people's heads. They're not complicated, okay? Like, you think that these are complex individuals with creative minds, they will be replaced by ChatGPT 3.5. It won't even take to the version 5.6 to replace them. Like, there's already a bot that's made to replace these people. Anyway, I'm not upset about Eric Kripke. I'm upset because people do not believe me. It's like, look, I have some experience. I've been on this channel for a while. I understand how the world works. So, apparently, when Homelander murders a protester, it is because of Donald Trump. Unironically, okay? Like, just flat out. Sure. I mean, he looked at the real world, and he drew that conclusion. I don't know from where. He's not going to link to a possible event or anything, but it is what it is, right? Kripke was asked about a scene where Homelander introduces his son to a crowd, which says, keep America safe. America safety first, God, guns, and Homelander. Now, I want to point out that, like these slogans that he puts in, these did not flow natural from the show, right? Like you may as well just have people say that diversity, inclusivity, and equity on their slogans. And Homelander could champion that. Why? Because Vought is a major multi-trillion-dollar corporation, and all multi-trillion-dollar corporations value diversity, inclusivity, and equity. So you could have just literally just put whatever protesters you wanted. I mean, when you're the showrunner, these characters are like your VTube avatars. You can make them say and do whatever you want. They're not real people. Okay? Like, these, like, Homelander doesn't exist. But you need to understand, in the mind of a liberal who lives in a city and goes to work at a corporation, this is their real life. This is why they can only think in Marvel, and their history begins and ends with World War II. That's it. Like, they don't know anything else, right? So when they're looking at Marvel, it's like, that's why they use the Marvel allegories all the time. Because they don't have, like, real life shit that they can relate to. They used to also relate to Harry Potter, but that's problematic now, so they can't talk about it. But like, America safety first and keep America safe, that can also be George Bush. That can also be any president during the Cold War. That can also be any president during World War II. Like these are not Trump-specific slogans. And apparently, they also had swastikas and SS bolts. Why would you assume that, right? Like, this is what they believe. That people who vote for Trump are actually national socialists. Like they want to have a dictatorship in the United States. This is what they believe, right? Like, they believe that if these people manage to win elections, they are going to shut down your businesses, require you to show QR code in order to enter McDonald's. They're going to check your medical papers. They're going to have an ideology which segregates people based on ethnicity, right? Like, oh, well, you can't have this job unless you're this particular ethnicity, right? Because we have a quota in order to make it, right? Like, this is what they believe. One protester even shoves down a cameraman before Homelander arrives to introduce them to his son. After introducing his son, the protester wearing a Believe Starlight shirt yells at Homelander, "Fuck you, fascist." Again, like, Homelander is not even a fascist. Homelander is an unhinged individual. I would say that if Homelander existed, it's not even like a fascist ideology that he would promote. Because he doesn't even have an ideology. I think like Homelander, what he would do, if you would actually look at the logic of the show, is he would probably install a theocracy. Like, he would label himself as a god, and he would demand people worship him. That's not fascism. And that's more akin to absolutism, right? Like, fascism, if you look at... But again, like, these people do not even understand the fucking ideologies they criticize. If you look at fascism, like, the whole thing is the fascia, right? Like, many sticks put together. Why? Because one stick breaks easily. But if you put a bundle of sticks together, you can't break it, right? So that's what fascism stands for. Homelander doesn't need other people, right? Like, he's not a weak stick. He is the strongest stick. Which means that he would not support like, he doesn't want anyone else with him. He views himself as a god. Which is, again, like, why woke people cannot fucking create movies, because they don't understand history. They do not understand the ideologies they criticize. They have like a childish view of things, and they believe that everyone agrees with them. And for some goddamn reason, they also want to alienate their audience. Like, if I were to make a video game where I shit on the left wing, I would not specifically say that I'm shitting on the left wing. I would leave it up to interpretation. Why? Because left-wingers have money as well, and I want them to buy my stuff. And like, what is more satisfying than taking away the money from the people that don't like you? But they're not even smart enough to do that. Like, they believe that they can just shit on the right, and they're still going to have viewers. I guarantee to you, like, this thing right here is going to cause the viewership. It's going to cause people like, okay, you know what? I'm going to watch it with a friend. I still want to see the boys. I still want to, but I'll watch it with a friend. I will not go to my house and watch it and give them money. I guarantee to you, they're going to lose money over this. And for what? For absolutely no reason. So apparently, he took inspiration from Donald Trump. It's not great. It's a notion taken to the extreme that the more horrible public leaders act, the more fans they rack up. See, this is another dumb liberal take. Like, they believe that if it wasn't for Fox News, everyone would vote for Obama. Like, literally, that's their mindset, right? Like, if you don't have the talking head, then everyone would vote for Obama. Like, Obama is the default, right? But unfortunately, you have the Tucker Carlsons, you have the Alex Joneses, you have the Steven Crowder, and that's why. So, such a dumb take, you know? Usually it's because people have real life issues and concerns that aren't addressed. That's why they become populist. It's very simple. It's not rocket science. The idea that everyone is like, yes, we should pay more taxes to the government. We should allow the government to shut down our businesses. We should allow the government to bail out the banks whenever the banks go bankrupt. Right? Like, that's literally how they think people believe. Like, it's fascinating. I don't know what to say. Apparently, he elaborated, it's like the campaign video of the guy actively saying he's going to hunt down people with his semi-automatic and kicking open private residence to hunt them down. And people cheer for that. What the fuck did that happen under MAGA? Like, when were people kicking down doors and everyone cheering for that? You know, if anything, I can tell you in Europe during the pandemic, there were people cheering whenever someone got arrested for walking on the street without a mask or some shit. Like, that did happen. You know, like, there were videos with cops, like, pinning down a lady that was jogging and she was screaming because she was being hurt. And people were cheering that was happening. I have seen that stuff. You know, it wasn't MAGA. Speaking specifically to Homelander's son, and Ryan is an ally important piece to the story because he's half Becca, half Homelander. If Butcher can figure out how to get his shit together and get the kid back, then he could be the single best weapon they have against Homelander. But vice versa, if Homelander wins the kid over, that's apocalyptic because now there's two of them. Kripke didn't stop at Donald Trump. He also indicated that Robert Singer and Victoria Newman's presidential ticket is an allegory to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. My fucking god, like, this guy lives in a black and white universe. Right-wingers, bah. Every single one, bah. Left-wing, grrr. Yeah, like... How's the inflation going, by the way? Oh, that's the effect because you're fucking rich. I see. How's the crime rate in Chicago? Oh, you don't live there. Okay. When asked how Butcher will try and win Ryan over while also plotting to kill Newman, he said, yeah, it's probably going to be a slam dunk. They're up against DeSantis' ticket. That's part of the fun. By the way, wasn't Newman like an allegory of AOC? Like I remember the articles writing about that. I guess like they're whatever it needs to be that particular month, right? What we find fascinating about the questions we're asking about Butcher is he self-aware enough to realize that he's causing his own misfortune? You know, I'm genuinely curious though, like, what ideology does Homelander have that is particularly right-wing? Like, what are his takes on economics? What are his takes on individual freedom? You know, like that type of thing. Because, like, they're not even being answered in the show. They're not even touching on that level of politics, and all of a sudden they're like, oh yes, this is about Donald Trump, blah, blah, blah. I don't know why they do this, to be honest. Like no other... first of all, like, if you look at the history of movies in America, they never did this before. You know, like, taking, like, such strong political stances that are incredibly divisive for no fucking reason. And secondly, he's also talking about white people, if you can believe it or not. In 2020, Kripke said, white dudes standing next to you are the most dangerous people. I mean, these are the American values, I guess, the pillar stones of society. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.